guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the wrap-up video that happens every end of the month. I had a very messy reading month, to be honest. I didn't remember half of what I read. I usually put down notes on my phone of what I think about the book as I'm reading it or when I finished it, but this month I didn't do that. I don't know why I didn't do it. I don't know what was in my head, but I didn't do it, and I had a very unhinged reading month. I for sure didn't have a good, like, the best reading month because I only had one 5-star read that was, in my opinion, pretty obvious that it was 5 stars. Like, I wasn't surprised it was 5 stars. And I think that last month I had like one of the best reading months, but this month was not the best. Also, because it is my birthday month, I felt like I was all over the place most of the time, and
I don't remember half what I read.
This is going to be a very difficult wrap-up video because I'm gonna be sifting through 30 days of memories, and I'm not good at that. We're gonna try our best to at least go in order of what I read, because that I wrote down. I also read a few Kindle books. I don't have it physically, but it's on my Kindle, and most of these books are on Kindle Unlimited. Let us start off with the first book that I read, and it's Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, if I'm not wrong. This is a small town cowboy romance, if I'm not mistaken, and the main characters, I don't remember their names. Tangerine? Clementine! Female main character's name is Clementine. I don't know who the guy's name is, I don't remember. But the female main character in this book, she is a barrel rider, so she rides horses and they go through obstacles, I think, and she is a well-known barrel rider, but she suddenly moved back to her small town for certain reasons, mostly that she's not continuing with her career, and a lot of her family is perplexed by her decision because she was very adamant about moving out of her small town when she was young. She ends up striking a relationship with the male main character, who is the adopted brother of her family. He's not technically adopted, like, legally. You guys read Chestnut Spring series, like Jasper, but this is that guy. I don't remember his name. And basically they strike up a relationship. She opens up about her reason as to why she's not continuing her barrel riding, and he decides to give her horse riding lessons. This is also brother's best friend trope, and I gave this book 2.5 stars. I think it was cute and the romance was great, the plot was great, but it was all very predictable. Like, the tropes were very cliche, and I felt like although it was an easy read, it was just not tickling my happy senses, so I didn't end up giving this a high rating. And then I read Addicted for Now by Kristen Becca Ritchie. This is the third book in the Addicted World series. This is about Lily and Lo. Lily is a sex addict and Lo is an alcoholic. The first book starts off fake dating because they wanted to hide their secrets from their family, and as the story goes on, their addiction comes to light and they try and fix their addiction. And in this book, they are basically trying to fix Lily's addiction, because in Ricochet they try to fix Lo's addiction. So this book's all about that, but we get a lot of Reich and Daisy moments. We also get a lot of Connor and Rose moments in this book, and those other 4 characters are the big core group of this whole series. I gave Addicted to You 4 stars. I also gave Ricochet 4 stars, and this is also 4 stars. I remembered reading the first half and feeling like it was really boring, but then after that the story picked up and it was very, very interesting. I really liked the semi-mystery case that happened in this book, and also the relationships with Lo and Reich. I also really like the relationships between Lily, Daisy, and Rose. And also I know this is a really good series, and I'm also really excited to read the following books, and so 4 stars for Addicted for Now. I then read the Happy Ever After playlist. That is the second book after The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. So this is an interconnected standalone series by Abby Jimenez. The first book is called The Friend Zone, and the second one is about Sloane and Jason. 2 years ago, Sloane's fiance passed away, and for those 2 years she kind of suffered a lot through her life. She felt like she couldn't move on. And one day a dog accidentally runs in front of her car and literally jumps into her car, and she ends up adopting said dog. She tried contacting the dog's owner, but the owner didn't reply her. But 2 weeks later, the owner came back to her, and he apparently just didn't have signal to reply to her text. They kind of go through this conversation with text. The banter was really witty, and Sloane starts to finally get out of her shell, finally start feeling like she could get into a relationship with a new person. I felt like it really mimics a lot of the chick flick movies that I read when I was young. I gave this book 4 stars only because I didn't like the third act conflict that happened in this book, which is why I gave it 4 stars. If it didn't have a third act conflict, I would have given this 4.5. The next book I read is Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. This is the only book that I am giving less than 2 stars. This is 1.5. I have a reading vlog on this. I'm pretty sure I gave it 2 in that reading vlog, but thinking about it again, I'm giving it 1.5. This is a second chance romance between a journalist and an actor, and the premise is that the journalist was about to interview this actor because he is about to play James Bond in the new James Bond movie, but he has a lot of backlash about it because he is not British. He doesn't seem to have that suave that the James Bond character has, and the journalist, she's supposed to make an article that makes it seem like he is fit for the James Bond role. Something happens in that weekend of her interviewing this actor, and 10 years later they are told to reenact that certain interview because it blew up. However, because something did happen in that weekend, they are in awkward terms, and we kind of slowly get to find out what happened during that weekend. Why I didn't like this book was very simple. I just felt like I didn't connect with the characters. I also really didn't like the female main character. I know a lot of people who gave this rave reviews, but I think for me personally, it was just not for me. Maybe it was her writing, or maybe it was her portrayal of the female main character, but to me, it didn't really stand out. I also couldn't really envision that kind of relationship happening in 3 days of them falling in love with each other and still being in love with each other after 10 years. Last but not least, I also didn't really like the little journals or articles that were slid into every end of the chapter. I don't know if you guys know this, but there are these little articles that happen in between chapters, and I think that it sometimes ruins the flow of the book. The next book I read is Shutout by Avery Keelan. This is the second book. I don't remember what the series name is, but I know the first book is called Offside. This book is considerably less thick than the first book. I know the first book was really long, but this one was really short and sweet. What I liked about it was that the romance was really cute, the chemistry between the main characters were also really cute, and the plot was fun enough that I was engaged throughout the whole book. What I didn't really enjoy was that the book fell flat plot-wise. There wasn't this big conflict that happened. When I was done with the book, it just didn't feel like there was much, and that was how I felt with Shutout. I gave it 3 stars because in general I did enjoy the book and I loved reading it, and I thought that the characters were really sweet and they had really good chemistry, so I gave it 3 stars. The next 2 books I read is the Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn tandem read of Sarah J Maas's Throne of Glass series. So this is the 5th book and the 6th book, and you're supposed to tandem read these 2 books. And if you have watched a few of my other videos in my channel, you'll know that I talk about the Throne of Glass series a lot these past few videos because I've been kind of getting through the few books, and I'm finally done with tandem reading this. I even have a whole vlog about this, and if you guys watched that vlog, you'll know that I absolutely loved, absolutely enjoyed every single part, every second of these 2 books, and I even cried reading this book. I cried like a baby. I was sobbing. I couldn't even stop crying. And I gave Empire of Storms 5 stars, and I gave Tower of Dawn 4.5. Tower of Dawn just had lesser emotions brought in me. I believe that you guys need to tandem read these 2 books. They will be so boring if you read them one by one because you're supposed to read Tower of Dawn first. This is 5 and this is 6 if I'm not wrong. It's just not it. It's not it. Like, it's better to tandem read it. So I do agree with the tandem reading. If you guys have yet to read Throne of Glass, please do. They're great. They're a great series. After that, I read Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. This is her new hockey romance sports series. She wrote Blindside. That really blew up, but she wrote that whole series called the Red Zone Rival series, and I loved that series. It's a football romance series, and she came out with a hockey romance one. I don't remember the character names. I really didn't, but I had such a good time reading those books. What I love about Candy Steiner is that her spice is written very, very well, and I just have such a good time reading her plots because it's just very fun and it's a very lighthearted read, and I feel like I'm not putting a lot of mental capacity into reading her books. However, I did give Meet Your Match 3.5 because it just didn't hit as hard as when I read Blindside, which I gave 5. Although overall I did enjoy the read, it didn't give me that that 5-star feeling. It also didn't give me like a 4-star heart-wrenching type of feeling, which is why I gave it 3.5. Sorry guys, I changed the batteries, so if the position changed, that was because I changed the batteries. I was running out. Next up, I read another Kindle Unlimited book, Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. Another hockey romance. So Behind the Net is about Pippa and Jamie. I remember their names. Jamie is a very popular hockey player and he barely has time to do anything, but he recently adopted a dog and he decided he needed an assistant to help take care of his dog, and in comes Pippa. So they went to the same high school, but Pippa is 2 years younger than him. Pippa, on the other hand, when she was in high school, she actually had a crush on Jamie because he was this jock, sports player type of person, and she had like a little crush on him, but what she didn't know was that he also had a little crush on her. And so this story was really cute because in the beginning they thought they hate each other, but turns out it wasn't like that. Pippa thought that Jamie hated her, but actually Jamie liked her, but he just was frustrated that he liked her because he didn't really have time with a lot of things. In general, it's a very sweet, very cute, very romantic rom-com. I had so much fun reading this. Writing was great, spice was great, the chemistry was great, I loved the banter, but I didn't give this 5 stars. It didn't make me feel like it was worth the 5-star rating, which is why I gave it 4 stars. But in general, to me at least, 4 stars is already a great rating, and I really do like and enjoy this book. I'm glad I gave Stephanie Archer a chance because I read her other series, which is That Kind of Guy, and I really didn't enjoy that one. So I'm happy that I read this book. And then I read Daisy Jones and the Six by TJR. If you guys don't know, this is recently adapted to a TV series, as y'all can see by this sticker on the cover that I cannot remove. But essentially this is about Daisy Jones and the Six, the band, how they kind of came together to become a band, and also how they fell apart as a band. And this book was very interesting because the writing is kind of an interview format, so it is all in dialogues, all in interview dialogue style, no narration at all. It was just very fresh because I've never read a book like this before. But what I really liked about this book was that throughout the whole reading experience, I always felt like the group Daisy Jones and the Six actually exists in real life, but it doesn't exist in real life. It's not a real band, it's totally fictional, but it felt like it was reality. What I didn't like about this as much as Malibu Rising, because that's the only other book that I read out of TJR's backlist, is that I really didn't like some of the characters, the decisions they make, the reasoning as to why they make those decisions. I felt like was just very convoluted in a sense, so I didn't enjoy that part very much. Sometimes I do like characters that are flawed, and sometimes I do enjoy their flawed personality because it gives them character, it gives them realistic in a sense, but this one was just way too much. So I gave Daisy Jones and the Six 4 stars, but in general it is a very strong book because I never felt bored reading this, and I flew through this book, flew through it super quick. So really enjoyed this book. We'll definitely read other TGR books. Then I read Daisy Haites by Jessa Hastings. This is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe series, but this is technically not about Magnolia Parks. This is about Daisy Haites. So this book I decided to give 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this so much more than Magnolia Parks, only because the toxicity is a little bit lesser, but the fun, the dramatics, the relationships, they're all there. And this is so much more exciting because you get to see a lot of the other characters' thoughts, and this is just very interesting to read. This is about Daisy Haites, Christian Hems, and Julian Haites. And this is also semi-mafia-esque because Daisy and Julian is a part of a gang, and Christian's family is also part of another gang, so they are technically mafia families. I had so much fun reading Daisy Haites. This book gave me so many feels. So many feels. So many good quotes too. Look at the annotations. So I love this book. 4.5 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars because I didn't really like what happened at the end, especially between Daisy and Christian. I didn't enjoy that part that much. The ending was a little bit you know, so that's why I gave it 4.5. Technically, Daisy Haites was the last book I read in July, but I actually reread a series. I reread Acotar. I wanted to put this at the end of the video because I didn't really have that much to say about the series. I have a whole video dedicated to my Acotar reread, so if you guys want to see and hear my thoughts there, you guys can go to that video. But essentially, I do not have ratings for any of these books because I don't want to change my ratings. I feel like rereading these books view my perspective in a sense where I know where the plot twists happen and I know what the twists are, so I do not want to re-evaluate my rating for these books. So I am going to keep my rating as it is, and I just want to let you guys know that I reread Akatar. So this is dangerous, but in total I read 15 books because I read I think 3 Kindle books, but these are my stack and my arms are in pain, so we're not going to lift that anymore. I hope you guys enjoyed this July wrap up. Sorry if it was a little bit unhinged and stuff because I didn't write any notes, so I completely forgot some of the plots. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts about these books. If you all like this video, don't forget to like this video. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you guys like these kind of videos. I hope you guys have a good day. Comment down below what book you guys like the most in the month of July, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!